the last video, we talked about Valkyrie Profile Lenneth, which was an RPG that was a little bit rough around the edges, but still quite enjoyable. Today, we're going to look at the follow-up, Valkyrie Profile 2 Silmeria. It seems that for this game, the team over at Tri-Ace tried to make things a little more user-friendly, while still retaining the unique qualities that sets it apart from other RPGs. There is no longer a time limit, you're given much more story throughout, and they do a better job explaining the game's mechanics. This game is actually a prequel to Valkyrie Profile. As the title suggests, the main focus of the story is on the Valkyrie Silmeria. She has been exiled to the human world by the Lord of the Gods, Odin. However, something goes wrong in the transmigration process, and Silmeria's soul gets trapped inside the Princess of Japan, Alicia. After learning of the error, the Valkyrie Hyrist gets sent down to Midgard to retrieve her. Silmeria has other plans, though. It's a very interesting story with a few nice plot twists later on. One thing I must mention about the story is that for whatever reason, the camera randomly tends to focus on the character's feet during the cutscenes. I don't know if the developers had some sort of foot fetish or they were just really impressed with the boots they created for each character, but it's a weird little quirk worth mentioning. Hey Tri-Ace, you guys got a thing for feet? Look over there. Oh, you want to see some more? Anyways, now that we got the gratuitous foot shots out of the way, let's talk about the graphics, which are absolutely gorgeous. Character models are extremely detailed and look fantastic. The towns look great as well, and you'll notice some really nice lighting effects while wandering through the game's beautiful dungeons. The game is also progressive scan compatible, which makes things look even better. Overall, it's one of the best, if not the best looking game on the PlayStation 2. Like the previous games in the series, this is a side-scrolling RPG. In dungeons and towns, you can go either left or right, and occasionally can press up or down to go inside a house or deeper into a town or dungeon. When you are in dungeons, you'll be able to swing your sword, which will break items or initiate combat. You'll also be able to cast photons. Using these against an enemy will crystallize it for a few seconds, and that enemy can then be used as a platform. If a second photon is cast at the enemy, Alicia will swap places with it. Mastering photon use and timing is crucial to finding all the treasures in each dungeon. If you're not sure if you found all the treasures within a dungeon, you can press the R1 button, which will bring up a handy map. A new addition to the series is the use of seal stones. These items will grant you certain bonuses while inside a dungeon. Not all are beneficial though, some will cause you to lose hit points or cause various debuffs. If you place one of these negative seal stones on something called a dais, the enemies in the area will be affected instead. And there are lots of seal stones to mess around with, and they can greatly aid you on your journey. When you get into combat, the game shifts from side-scroller to a 3D battlefield. You'll be able to run through these environments to attack or avoid enemies. A neat feature of combat is that the enemies only move when you do, which makes this real-time system kind of feel turn-based. As long as you stay out of the enemy's attack range, they won't be able to harm you. One other thing is that every enemy party has a leader in it, and the battle will end when the leader is defeated. And you'll want to go through battles as quickly as possible because you'll notice on the right side of the screen that there's also a timer, which affects how much experience you get and also whether or not you get an item. Much like the first game, each character is assigned to a face button, and will execute their attacks when their corresponding button is pressed. These can be chained together with other party members, and if timed correctly, will grant more experience. Special attacks are back again as well, although this time they are called Soul Crushes, which sounds way better than Purify Weird Souls. These look spectacular of course, and can do major damage to whatever you're fighting. This game has an amazing soundtrack from Motoi Sakuraba. Lots of great tracks here, and I have a hard time deciding if this or Baten Kaitos is my favorite soundtrack from him. You'll also hear quite a bit of voice acting in the game, and it's all done rather well. One aspect of the game people may find disappointing compared to the first is the way Einherjar are handled. You don't get to see the events leading up to their demise. Instead, you'll see an enchanted weapon and be able to summon the spirit of the fallen warrior. The only backstory each Einherjar has is a brief summary in the character status screen. In conclusion, Valkyrie Profile 2 Silmeria is a great RPG that improves on many things from the first game. Now, there are a lot of people out there who actually prefer this one over the second game. Me personally, I feel that the gameplay is better in this one, even though it's lacking the Einherjar stories. But they're both great games. I highly recommend checking these out. And there is also a third game on the DS called Covenant of the Plume. I don't have that one right now, and I do plan on reviewing it. It's just I have a huge amount of games that I want to talk about first, so we'll get to that eventually. But anyways, that'll do it for this one. So I want to thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you next time.